Car fanatic won't go to senior prom, cop finds out why and shows up in time. He was desperate to go to prom, but with no car of his own, or even a suit, he knew if he didn't do something drastic he'd be spending prom night alone at home. In the end, he'd managed to get enough cash together to rent a tux, but his plan for a sweet ride led police right to his door moments before he was due to leave. Senior prom was fast approaching and Darius Ellis was getting nervous. Without a car, the Lakeland High student had no idea how he would get to the Orlando event. He didn't have a suit either, nor the money to get one. But he wasn't about to let that stop him from attending the most important night of his young life. Darius knew the school resource officer Dagan Leach was the owner of a sleek Nissan GTR. He'd got chatting to him on his way to school one day. Leach was kind enough to show Darius the car, which he kept parked away from school grounds. He even let him sit in it. Darius told him then and there that he would do anything for a car like that. On his way home, all Darius could see was expensive cars. Darius flopped down on his bed and fantasized about owning the kind of wheels that would turn heads as he pulled up to the venue. He stared up at the posters of luxury cars on his wall. If only he had one like Officer Leach's, it roars like a tiger and stings like a bee, Darius said to Leach the next time he saw him. Huh? Leach responded before he realized he was talking about the car again. Darius stopped Leach to talk about the Nissan GTR every single day. There was only a week to go until prom and all the other students were discussing who they'd be taking and what they'd be wearing. But all Darius seemed to care about was engines. "Aren't you going to prom?" Leach asked Darius, wondering why he wasn't getting into the spirit of things with his fellow students. But Darius just looked at the ground and shrugged. He clearly didn't want to talk about it and quickly changed the subject back to tires and rear spoilers. Leach took note of Darius's unusual interest in his car. Later in the week, Darius had made a point of mentioning to other teachers that he probably wouldn't be going to prom, and when the faculty heard that he was struggling to afford a suit, they all chipped in to help him out with some threads from Men's Warehouse. There was only one piece missing, a hot set of wheels to roll up in. Darius's dreams were likely dashed. Unless it was the day of the prom and Leach didn't see Darius that morning. He loved checking out sports cars too, so he was always happy to chat with a fellow petrolhead, but he couldn't shake how obsessed Darius was. Then suddenly, it clicked. Leach picked up his phone right away and made a call. He just hoped he wasn't too late. "Gotta look good for the ladies," Darius said to himself as he checked out his new look in the mirror. The nicest item of clothing he owned was his football jersey, so he couldn't believe he was actually wearing a tuxedo. And if all went to plan, he'd be going to prom in style. But before he could get moving, there was a knock at the door. It was the police. It was Officer Leach. Darius just stared as he peered over his shoulder and saw the Nissan GTR parked out front. Leach had realized that Darius wanted to turn up to prom in a supercar, so he decided to make his dream come true and had arrived to drive him there personally. Darius's plan to take several buses to Orlando was thrown out the window as the perfect chariot awaited. "Something that I had to do, I needed to do it," said Leach of the moment he realized he had to get involved to make Darius's prom dreams come true. "He is such a kind spirit and such a kind-hearted kid, I knew I had to get him there." The pair turned up in the police officer's hot rod and Darius turned as many heads as he'd imagined. In fact, he had some kind words for Leach that made it all worthwhile. "I will never forget about him, and I'll never forget what he does for people," the soon-to-be graduating Darius said of the police officer he will no longer be seeing every morning. "He's the best big brother I ever had." Doesn't every young person deserve a little VIP treatment on an important milestone like senior prom? Thank you for watching this fantastic story. Please tap one of the 2 videos on your screen for another amazing Wonder Stories.